What's good, people? Guy from Shy Squad back at it again with another totally outrageous unboxing of a totally unnecessary baritone guitar because the end times are upon us and there is nothing better to do but then to convert your savings account into baritone guitars before it all inflates. So, nothing left to do but open her up. Made in Indonesia. It's the Ibanez RG something. You should buy Tommy Stump's new album, Alles Idioten, out now on green vinyl with signature. And here we go. It's the big moment. The grand reveal. It is in a gig bag. It is the Ibanez RGIB6. Wild. I wonder why they did that. So, with the grand unboxing out of the way, there's nothing left to do but go straight to the bunker and play Godzilla by the Fags to celebrate the belated birthday of Gian Piero Azzolino. At the bunker with Ibanez RGIB6 through the twin reverb, neck pickup, everything clean on 5. Both pickups. Bridge pickup. Okay, overdrive. Both pickups. Neck pickup. Now one real quick taste of the power driver. Whew. Amusingly enough, I did not instantly recognize that this is actually in standard tuning. But it should have been plainly obvious because these ain't nothing but a regular set of 10s. So, before I restring it with something heavier and tune it down to B to B, I'm going to take this golden opportunity to address a question that sometimes comes up in the baritone guitar threads when they're not asking how to get down to A0 or what strings do I need to play at a -4 hertz or something like that. Sometimes they actually ask, what happens if I tune my baritone guitar to normal E to E tuning? So I can actually think of 3 reasons somebody would actually want to do this. The most obvious one being comfort. I think there is a lot to be said to having this kind of string spacing. Especially if you're a bass player, and especially up here. If you can shred, which I can't, I think this wider spacing on the highest frets, especially for a 24 fret guitar, might be more comfortable if you have chunky fingers, which I don't, but other people do. In fact, I know that Will from Will's Easy Guitar actually made a 26.5 inch guitar for himself for no other reason than he wanted a little bit extra room way up here on the top frets. So I can imagine just wanting to have more room. The second is obviously sustain. People always talk, the extended scale length will give you more sustain. I've always had certain issues with the sustain question because it seems to me it's more like a amp gain and compression issue than actually a mechanical thing about your guitar. But I'll leave that to the super nerds to fight about in the comment section below. But a more pressing concern might be harmonics. And this is where the baritone guitar, a 28-inch scale instrument with light strings, might be very interesting indeed if you are a practitioner of the künstliche Flageolet, the artificial harmonics, the pitch harmonics, like my boss Tommy Stumpf, squealies as he calls them, or simply the tricky harmonics that are not always very audible around the 3rd fret, like you can really right between the 3rd and 2nd fret, you can really hear them. Yeah, and if you turn the distortion up, so getting a lot of harmonics might be a charming feature of having a 28-inch scale guitar in standard tuning. Let's do a little experimentation with that and see how far we can go before I make a bunch of catastrophic noise that nobody wants to hear. So there seems to be a space right here where you can get your thumb in there for some good squealy action. Yeah, I wish I had my boss here, Tommy Strumpf, because he's very good at the artificial harmonics and uses them a lot, and I can barely even play guitar, so I'm not the best one to demonstrate this. And also, it's kind of like, if you want to do it just for harmonics, this is actually one of the few cases where I can imagine that you really would want to have a whammy bar. And be that as it may, yeah, I think it does offer you some interesting possibilities, although this is nothing that you can't really do on a regular guitar. It might just make it a smidge easier. The long scale might make tapping easier, but I'm not the best person to demonstrate that either. So before I string this up with some real baritone strings shortly to arrive in the post from Tolman.de, I am going to regale you with a bunch of noise in the highest register. Now you can laugh at how much I suck. See you on the other side.
Mayors and DAs sit on their thumbs. And they do. Because the police job is to generate revenue for the state and nothing more. It's not to protect businesses. It's definitely not about justice or any of that. They're road pirates that give out traffic tickets and chase around people, with an illegal plant so they can throw them in jail for weed or drugs or whatever to make money. Oftentimes in tandem with privately owned prisons. Not that it makes much of a difference if the government runs the prison. The reason the private prison is so lucrative is because the government is the one that pays for all the shit in the prison. So, okay, it's private contracts and stuff, but all the televisions, which you're not even allowed to watch, but they just have because somebody got a contract for it. It's all government fuckery from top to bottom. Nothing makes private companies worse than having a relationship with the state.
I tried a little something different this time. I decided to use Ernie Ball Not Even Slinky, which are actually going to be pretty slinky on a baritone, at least in theory, because they're only 12 to 56. And, the usual string gauges for baritone can be 13 to 62, or even 14 to 68, which will take you to drop A and far below. So I wanted to try these out, these lighter ones, to see if I could make this into a real, shredder metal style hot rod, like it's supposed to be, because it's an Ibanez. So, as you can imagine, I can nerd right out on string gauge, scale length, tension, and all the technical specifications, but I'll get to the point. Yeah, these 12 to 56 is considered very light for baritone. I don't think many people would recommend you to have 56 as your low string, but it's still pretty tight on this Ibanez with a 28-inch scale length, which is not particularly long because baritones go up to 30. So just to demonstrate this, I tuned the low string from B down to A. And the low string is not very floppy at all. Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Still stays in tune and everything. And it still sounds pretty heavy. In drop A. So I want to make this as slick as possible, like a real hot rod shredder guitar, so that maybe I can learn to be a real hot rod shredder guitarist someday. So what I'm thinking is, if this 12 to 56 set still has plenty of tension, I'm going to take it down even lower to, 10 to 52, like the, skinny top, heavy bottom sets. Or I could just tune this thing down even lower, see how it sounds. I think I'll take it down to A standard and then try it out in drop G. So there it is in A standard. So let's see what happens when we go down to drop G. Oh, there's where the flop comes in. Ooh, that is... This is where you need to palm mute a little to hide all the flop that's going on. Interesting. Well, there's your little science project. Drop G with a 56 gauge string on a 28-inch scale Ibanez. Yeah, kind of interesting. All right, so now it's time for your ultra nerdy close-up. What we have here is a very simple layout, with a double humbucker, three-way switch, and a fixed bridge, all of which I consider to be actual features because I like a simple layout. This fixed bridge, I actually wish all guitars had something like this as a standard option, because the less crazy it is with all the whammy options and, the tailpiece, strings going back behind the bridge, The less of that shit, the better, I think. All this Gibson style and Jazzmaster style stuff is actually not very practical if all you want is a fixed bridge. Now, they made some quite major niceties. The saddles are very smooth, and for the lowest two strings, they actually gave you a little bit of extra length here so that you can get the intonation actually right on the strings that need to be a tiny bit longer. So the double EMGs active pickups. This is my first guitar ever with active EMGs, which some people swear by, like my boss Tommy Stumpf, who has a Jackson Flying V, also made in Indonesia. He swears by the active EMGs, and now I got them too. So now we got the unmarked fretboard with jumbo frets that are essential on a super shredder guitar. And the neck's very small. The neck is razor thin, like you would expect on an Ibanez. This is, I think, my first guitar with such a thin neck. It's bad for getting your thumb around like I am wont to do, but it's good for playing with proper technique. It also has a feature which every guitar should have. The truss rod cover slides off, so you do not have to unscrew the truss rod cover to make minor adjustments. I don't know why this is this is not a standard feature on more guitars. Unscrewing the truss rod cover is one of the biggest pains in the ass, leading me to leave the truss rod cover off on a lot of things. Only possible critique one could make here is that it is hanging by one little tiny screw here and susceptible to breaking off if you're a klutz like me. So now let's turn them over. And here we can see for the battery cover, which I'm not used to because almost all of my guitars are passive. I only have one other active guitar. It's an Ovation Deacon, but it's nothing like this. So, amusingly, but actually very practically so, they gave us a little extra string length on the lowest ones and an extra large ferrule, I'm guessing, so that you can put in a bass string there. For all you guys in the baritone community, you have to have strings above 80. This is a little more room for a big baseball end, although the windings on bass strings aren't the same. You know all this stuff. Fitting in a bass string here is less than optimal, but it's not that easy to find a really low string with a standard guitar format that's above 80. So here we got a very nice neck joint. We have a very nice three-piece neck with a skunk stripe made of bubinga. So here we see that the tuning machines are exceptionally robust. This is a higher grade than the ones you usually see. And the typically abstruse Ibanez designation RGIB6 for the model name. And here we see that it is made in Indonesia. Not sure what to make of that, but the country is infinitely preferable to manufacturing in the kingdom of the Koof. And I've seen a lot of good guitars from Indonesia, including the Jackson Flying V in the hands of my boss, Tommy Stumpf. And here we got a close-up of the inspection card, which reveals some information that I should have seen from the get-go. Look at this. String gauge 9 to 52, so that's the skinny top, heavy bottom. Tuning standard. They really did tune it in standard E from the factory, implying that they don't know what a baritone is supposed to be. So I'm going to experiment further with string gauges after this video. Maybe try 11 to 50 something. We'll see about that. I want to get it to be a super shredder just like all the big boys out there. So there you have it, folks. The Ibanez RGIB6, which has been discontinued and replaced by another Ibanez baritone with an equally boring designation that nobody can remember. So I am going to take this in, have the frets polished and leveled really great so that I can have the lowest possible action to make this like a true Steve Vai super shredder, so I can be cool like my boss Tommy Stumpf and do really hot lead lines if I practice a lot. So with all of that in mind, it is time to take you out with a traditional Shy Squad all-round carefree outro.